Rotarians, it's a pleasure to have with us our past member, Jacqueline Smith Jordan. Previously, she was just Jacqueline Smith, but now that she's lost to the male membership, she's added Jordan. Jacqueline, it's always a pleasure to see you and be with you. We are sorry that you had to move to Oshawa, and we lost you as a member, but we haven't given up hope of you joining us again or joining another Rotary Club. Jacqueline is going to be telling us about some of the work she does in her new endeavors. And please join me in giving Jacqueline a warm North Scarborough welcome.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Basil. I appreciate that. I do have to say that I was thrilled that you asked me to come today. I was looking forward to seeing everyone again because it's been a little while since I've had that opportunity. And yes, I was sad to move to Oshawa, but the house prices in Oshawa are better than they are in Toronto. So that worked out for myself and Steve. Many of you know my husband, Steve, the Jordan that's hyphenated on my last name. And we just celebrated our 4-year anniversary in September. So that was awesome. And I have actually visited a couple other Rotary clubs since moving to Durham, but none of them have been as fabulous as your club. So I haven't joined any of them. I wish I had found one that I loved as much, but I didn't. So I'm thrilled to be here and seeing you all again today and just sharing a little bit about what I'm up to now. I do have a short presentation. I'm going to try to share my screen and see if this works, if hopefully you see what I see.
Yeah, good.
Can you tell me what you see?
The logo.
Agilec.
The Agilec logo?
Yeah.
Okay. And do you see anything that says no notes?
No.
Your name on it.
Danny, do you see notes?
I don't see anything but the presentation.
Okay, lovely. We had a problem with that before. So I now work at an organization called Agilec Services. Many of you knew me or met me when I worked at Goodwill, so also employment services. When I moved to Durham, it was difficult to be traveling back and forth through Toronto. So I was able to join this organization and still do a lot of the work that I was doing before, which I really enjoy, and some additional work. So there are a number of different services that Agilec actually has. We are not a nonprofit organization, which Goodwill was before. So we're able to offer some fee-for-service work, but also we have some free funded, so government funded work that we also do. So one of the things that we do is through vocational rehabilitation and disability management, we are able to do vocational and functional assessments to develop customized return to work and stay at work plans and services for individuals who have been injured on the job or trying to rehabilitate to get back to work. And then the secondary service that we provide are professional services. So that's career transition, helping individuals and organizations during layoff. We do leadership and professional development training. We're able to lease out our boardroom. So we do boardroom rentals, exam invigilations. We work with a lot of local colleges and universities to help them with their exams. And then the third part of what we do is the free government funded service, which is where I work, which is government services. And many of those are through Employment Ontario, which is a free employment and training program that we have for local job seekers, and we connect them to local employers who are looking for their skills and experiences. That VAC program is a new Veterans Affairs Canada program that we're doing. So it's services for eligible serving members or veterans or their families who now are looking to kind of reintegrate back into regular quote unquote society. We have an ODSP program as well, and that is helping anyone who has self-identified as an individual who has a disability and wants assistance to find employment. So we've been in business for 35 years. This is some of the work that we are currently doing in our community. On the government funded Employment Ontario side, which is where I work, when I started here in March of 2018, I was a team leader at our Employment Ontario office in Ajax, and I led a team of 10 people there, kind of working in our local community, connecting job seekers to local employers who, you know, had open opportunities and wanted to meet with those individuals to get a sense of what their skills and experiences are, and we would do those job matches. I've always loved training and facilitating and doing workshops. So earlier this year, an opportunity came up for an individual to work on a special project to kind of revamp some of our workshops and look at developing and creating new workshop offerings. And I applied for that position. And after a few rounds of presentations and interviews, I was selected as the candidate to do that. So I am working through this government-funded Employment Ontario program where we host these free workshops and events that help individuals to prepare for and search for employment that is really meaningful for them or that meets their particular needs. So since starting the project, I have created a number of workshops and learning events that didn't exist before. So I do a lot of the workshop facilitation. One of the ones that I created is called Revive Your Job Search. And this is specifically for kind of building resilience for individuals during the COVID pandemic. Over the last 18 months, as I'm sure you all know, a lot of people have needed to learn to be flexible and kind of develop this sense of toughness, of resilience. And this was actually the presentation that I created as part of my interview process to get this job. So I decided that this would be the first one that I presented to the public. I've done a LinkedIn for your job search, which has been well received. Some of you are connected with me on LinkedIn. So you probably know that I love using that platform. So I love encouraging other professionals to use it and teach them the best way to create a great profile and how to use it for their job search. I noticed that we had a lot of older workers coming to our sessions who had very particular and specific needs. So I also created a job search for older workers session that really spoke to where those candidates are in their job search process. They're going to have some different considerations than maybe someone who is younger or just coming out of school and looking for work. And then I have just finished literally creating a new session called Disclosing Disability and Requesting Accommodation at Work. And I'm going to be doing that tomorrow for the first time. So looking forward to be able to speak to individuals who have varying degrees of disabilities and how, if they choose to disclose that to an employer, the best ways for them to do that. And if they're already someone who's working and has a disability, the best way for them to make requests for accommodation at work. We also have a Canada-Ontario job grant program. I know some of you are business owners, so not sure if you're aware, but the government does provide funding to business owners who want to train their employees. So I just recently done an information session on that, and we'll continue to do that every month. I've also looked at reaching out to some of our existing partners and having them come in as guest speakers to do 1-hour information sessions every month. And these are some of the people that we have existing relationships with that I've reached out to who have done those already. And I continue to do that, to find new partners who are willing to come and share any information that they have that's going to be valuable to our clients and our community. So Skills Ontario has come in to talk about skilled trades. The Skilled Trades College specifically to talk about women in the trades. We had Empower Canada. They came in to talk about getting young people into information and communication technology careers. And I just had Service Canada come in and do a session on fraud awareness and understanding how to use your social insurance number and how to protect that when you are actually working. And I've also created some panel discussions. I want to do these quarterly. It's something that we weren't doing before. So I'm going to get together a group of guest speakers. We're going to have a different topic every time, and they're going to share their expertise, their knowledge around whatever the theme is for that panel. So the first one that I did was in September. It was called Creative Employment Pathways for Youth. Really looking at some non-traditional employment opportunities for young people. And Randall, probably some of you will recognize Randall's face because he is a Scarborough native and the first poet laureate of Ontario. So he was one of the guest speakers, and all three of our guest speakers were awesome.
Amazing one, Jacqueline. I did watch it.
Did you? Oh, thank you. Appreciate it, David. I was just going to say the recording is on our website, so if you want to watch it, you can. And there's a little snippet on my LinkedIn profile. And then I am planning to do the next one for Q1, and I'm hoping to get some guest speakers around educating employers about hiring people with disabilities, because we're finding that employers are very hesitant to hire individuals with disabilities, and they have some preconceived and sometimes false ideas about whether people with individual disabilities can actually work and work successfully. So since starting between August and October, we've doubled our workshop participation numbers. 80% of our survey respondents have rated their workshop experience as excellent. And I just put their feedback is always anonymous, so we don't know who's giving the feedback. But a lot of people have shared that they love that the sessions are interactive, that they're able to kind of contribute to the sessions, that they've gained a lot of new knowledge and information that's going to help them specifically in their job search. That second one is specifically around the LinkedIn workshop that I just created. And when I do that workshop, I actually go into my live LinkedIn profile. So I take them on to LinkedIn so they can actually see a live profile. We do job searches together. I show them how to change things on their profiles, so it's very engaging. So when I think about the future of workshops and this position and doing some additional learning events, I've had the opportunity to work with our professional services and corporate training departments. So I'd like to continue kind of expanding my collaboration with those two departments. So even though I'm working mostly right now with our government funded side, I have had the opportunity to do some fee-based training. We, during COVID, had a union that reached out to us, and many of those union members had lost their jobs. Some of them were tied to GM when GM had closed down, and they asked if we would come in and do some digital literacy training because they had worked in manufacturing and many of them hadn't had the necessity maybe to use computers before or really had any level of digital literacy. So I went in and did those in-person courses, which were awesome, and we got great feedback. And also through the Vocational Rehabilitation group, I've also been able to do one-on-one computer training with people who were injured at work, can no longer go back to the work that they were doing before. And so they also are looking to gain some new computer skills to maybe pivot into a new career. One of the other things I'd like to do, because I am only one person, so even though we're getting great feedback about the work that I have done, I can't do all of it. So we're trying to get a number of facilitators on board. I've had a couple other people start this month to lead some of the sessions that I would normally facilitate. So up till today, I was doing like one in the morning, one in the afternoon, and still trying to find time to develop some of these new sessions. So that will allow me to spend more time on the development end and come up with new topics that are going to help our clients and our community. So that would be kind of the next item on the list, is just continuing to develop, and we're always looking for new ideas. So if anyone has anything they want to share with me afterwards, I'm always open to that. So anything that would be valuable to our clients and local communities as it relates to employment goals. So also looking to increase partnerships with different organizations. So whether those are existing partnerships that we already have and kind of leveraging those relationships, or looking at building new relationships that are going to be specifically beneficial to the job seekers that we serve or to the employers that we serve. So that's what I've been up to. So I'm going to open the floor if anyone's got any questions.
Can I, President Danny, can I jump in with a question here?
Courtney, yeah, go ahead and ask a question.
Okay, sure. Thank you. Jackie, thanks for the presentation.
Mm-hmm.
In your presentation, you referenced specific outreach to workers with disability and overcoming some of employer assumptions with workers with disability.
Mm-hmm.
And I really applaud that, because we know that workers with disability rank very high in terms of food bank usage. So, but besides that, can you tell us a bit about outreach to BIPOC communities, Black, Indigenous, and people of color?
Yeah, good question. We as an organization, over the last 2 years have had conversations about groups in the community that who may be underserved by us. The BIPOC community was one of those groups. We do have a large immigrant population that we serve specifically. So I don't want it to sound as if we are not already serving those groups. However, we don't necessarily have programs or specific services that are only geared towards those particular individuals. We offer general employment services or general vocational rehab to anyone who is in need of those particular services. So through conversation through our team leader groups, we've realized that we want to have more of that outreach, but the outreach is happening from a local level. We have a number of local offices, Courtney, across Ontario. So in Kingston, in Peterborough, in Durham, and our marketing team has worked on creating flyers that have imagery that are more relevant to the BIPOC and other communities that were not previously focused. I don't want to say not served, because we were serving, but not necessarily an outreach focus. Also, they have been reaching out to particular groups who serve those populations specifically to get them to partner with us. So it is something that we have made a priority, and the marketing team, because they actually do the outreach, are the group that's working on that now. I have a meeting set up this Friday with my contact at Skills Ontario, who's now moved into a new position as a diversity outreach coordinator. And she and I are going to be talking about specifically creating a session for the BIPOC community, whether it's in regards to the work that she does through Skills Ontario or some other kind of professional development, but that will be geared towards that community. And we're hoping to do that either in January or February. So I'm having that conversation with her on Friday, and I'm hoping to continue those discussions either with any organizations that I come in contact with myself or that our marketing team tells us about. So certainly, Courtney, if you know any organizations or if that's a particular interest for you, you can let me know.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Okay, Jacqueline, something that's of interest to me is the College of Trade. Do you work with the College of Trades?
Not directly. We have invited them to participate in an information session, and that hasn't happened yet. So we had this separate private college that you saw on the presentation, who was able to come and share some information about what they're doing around educating and training people in the trades.
Yeah, I think they're actually going to replace the College of Trades.
Yes.
So that's what I was meaning. Have they told you who you would be dealing with after they're gone? No.
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 But that organization is a private organization, so we will still have connection with them.
Okay.
They're not part of the college.
Okay, any more questions? Jacqueline, you've got about 6 minutes to your next meeting.
Yeah, that's okay. If anyone has any other questions, I'd like
There's Basil, yeah, and Basil's on mute.
Jacqueline, is all your funding either fee for service or government contributions?
Yeah, good question. So we have a number of programs that are either provincially or federally funded, so it depends on the program. The public workshops that I do now are free of charge to anyone that attends because they are part of our government-funded program. We have another arm of the business, which is a fee for service. It's the corporate and professional training. So if I do training through that group, it means that a private organization has reached out to us, expressed what some of their training needs are, or we have perhaps put in an RFP to something that they put out. We will determine, kind of do a needs assessment with them, and then provide that training to their private individual company members for a fee. So there is a charge associated to doing that corporate training. So there are both happening.
Okay, we have very little time. So David Simongo and then Mike Boucher, if you could thank Jacqueline on behalf of the club. So
Thanks.
David.
Jacqueline, your government funding, are you required to go back every year and put up a proposal for them? Or is it to sort of, we are working with you and we're going to keep funding you?
Yeah, that's a great question. So several times, I'm trying to figure out how to answer that. Several times throughout the year, we regularly report everything that we do, right, to the government. We have access to a government database that they have created. Every Employment Ontario service provider, so not just Agilec, reports their activity into this database. So the government is aware from one day to the next kind of where we are in our activities as it relates to the particular, they've given us some targets tied to that funding, right? So you can imagine over the last 2 years, because of COVID, really no service provider was able to meet any of those targets because of COVID and what had happened. So they've eased on that. We know that we're getting funding for next year, but they have asked us to now look at ways that we can kind of make up for some of the numbers that were lost over the last 2 years. And they themselves are coming out with new programs that will hopefully help to attract more individuals to use the services. Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mike?
Yes, it's my absolute pleasure to thank Jacqueline for her presentation today. And certainly she's filling in the voids in a number of areas where people tend to, quotes, slip through the cracks. And that's certainly to be lauded, especially work with special needs people or handicapped people who are very often left behind. And we all have fond memories of Jacqueline at our club. And I do remember one time at a citizenship day at the Scarborough Sound Center that she represented us extremely well. And Jacqueline, thank you very much, and hope you find a great Rotary Club. And hey, if you happen to be transferred to terrible Toronto, you're welcome here.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone, for having me. It was lovely to see you all. Thank you for the questions. I appreciate it. And Basil and Danny have my contact information. So if there's anything else that comes up and you want to shoot me an email, feel free.
Thank you, Jacqueline.
Okay.
Very good.
Take care, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.